Thank you for giving me this precious opportunity, and it's my great honor to share the status quo of the Japanese media market under the pandemic with this distinguished group. So, as there seems to be no other Japanese in the team, I would like to start my presentation by introducing some figures of the Japanese media markets. First of all, I have to say that Japan is a country where terrestrial TVs are universally available and still popular. Even in the most remote area, people can enjoy at least three terrestrial channels. One is from commercial firms and the other two are from the public corporations. And because 60% of the country is mountainous and there are many high-rise buildings in densely populated areas, even the terrestrial TVs covers all the nation, more than half of the household, watch the program via cable systems. And the satellite TV is also universally available throughout Japan. And also, internet TV gets popularity in niche market. Of course, foreign giants such as Netflix and Amazon are also entering the market. Together, they offer a wide variety of programs right now for the Japanese people. But among these terrestrial TVs, among these, the terrestrial TVs are the one with the largest commercial scale in Japan. Oops. At the left side graph shows that the commercial TVs are still occupying more than half of the TV revenues, and most of which come from the commercial sales. Revenues for the public TVs, which account for 17% of total, are derived from subscription fees. This is a fee that must be paid by households that have a video screen capable of receiving NHK programs. NHK is the name of the public broadcasting organization in Japan. Since individual households are obliged to pay this fee even if they do not actually watch the program, it is considered as if it's a tax, and there are many arguments against this system itself. The figure on the right shows that in terms of advertising market, the internet share has increased 2.5 times in response to broadband penetration during the period, while terrestrial TV has lost only minor part of its share and still remains a huge part of the market in 2019. Actually, in 2019, share of terrestrial TV is only 5 percentage points smaller than the share accounted for by the internet media. As a conclusion, I can say that in Japan, where broadband penetration is among the highest in the world, terrestrial TVs still have an economic power that rivals that of the internet, at least in the advertising market. Now let's turn to the impact of COVID-19 in Japan. The photo on the left shows what it looks like in front of Shinjuku Station last year under the declared state of emergency. If you have ever been to Japan, you know that this is a place where usually very much crowded. The photo on the right shows the university where I work. This is a place where a lot of students and teachers and professors usually come and go. During the emergency, because all of the classes were moved online, I didn't see any student in this venue. These graphs show the impact of COVID-19 on consumer behaviors in Japan. The upper one indicates the change in the week average of media contact time, showing that the time spent on TV and radio is increasing, uh, okay, which is possibly due to the stay-at-home lifestyle. But it is also clear that the growth of the time for the internet is far larger than that. Bottom one indicates that under the COVID-19, media contact rates increased almost throughout the day in Japan. A closer look shows that the peak viewing time for TV has moved slightly earlier, peaking before 9 p.m. On the other hand, internet and online video use peaks at 10 p.m. This suggests a life pattern of watching TV after dinner and watching online video before bedtime. And these diagrams show the change in internet usage among Japanese people. Weak average usage time, both inside and outside the home, are described by the size of the tiles for each internet device used. The area circled in red represents the share of watching online video. The amount of time spent per week increased by 44% from 94 minutes in 2019 to 136 minutes in 2020. On the other hand, the time spent watching internet video increased by 80% from 18 to 32 minutes during the same period. As you know, that net video, especially high definition one, consumes much more traffic compared to other internet usage. This is why download traffic in Japan has increased by 57% in the year starting May 2019. Considering that there was a steady 17% increase in previous years, the increase in 2020 is at a level that can be called explosive. The increase from 2020 to 2021 has also remained high compared to the pre-pandemic levels, indicating that continuation of online video viewing among Japanese households. On the other hand, despite the increasing use of interactive video conference in business and education, there seems no noticeable changes in uploads. These lines show the changes in individual viewership of terrestrial TVs by time of day. The absolute rating levels vary depending on whether it is in prime time, golden time, or not, so the lines shown here are drawn using the 2019 figures as a benchmark. Probably due to the stay-at-home lifestyle, viewership increased in the first quarter of 2020. But soon after, the rating has returned to pre-pandemic levels and start following a long-term downward trend. This means that the impact of COVID-19 on terrestrial TV in Japan was just transitory. On the other hand, as the economic activity stagnated due to pandemic, the situation for advertising revenue was dire in 2020. The graphs on the left show the change in revenue for each station, while the graphs on the right show the monthly revenue for NTV, which is a Nippon Television, and the TBS, which is a Tokyo Broadcasting System, as a percentage of the previous years. Considering the possibility of a recovery due to revival of economic activity in 2021, the extent to which the financial situation of the Japanese broadcasters has been damaged by COVID-19 will need to be carefully examined in future by using some empirical data. By the way, internet video viewing is steadily advancing, albeit at a low level compared to terrestrial TV, which has a far longer history in the Japanese market. The top left shows the possibility that the impact of stay-at-home lifestyle due to COVID-19 accelerated the rate of diffusion in 2020 and 2021. And the bottom left and the right-hand graphs indicate that the increasing number of internet video users are gravitating towards Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. There is no doubt that the giant content platforms from the US is gaining control of the Japanese SVOD market. Well, it has long been pointed out by many experts in Japan that it will become more and more difficult for Japanese companies to compete in the VOD market with major US companies because US companies invest huge amount of money in content creation. I think because it is true that COVID-19 has accelerated the trend of going online, the development of this expected doomsday scenario for Japanese firms may have been accelerated at least by a few years. These two graphs are based on a customer survey conducted by the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, which is in charge of media industry and telecom industries. The graphs on the left show that during the first emergency declaration in April 2020, 40% of users watched online videos, and during the second declaration in January 2021, the number dropped to 27%. The graph on the right shows future usage intention, where it drops even further to 22%, indicating that part of the increase in internet video viewing in Japan due to COVID-19 is a temporary phenomenon. Here is a summary, what I have found so far. The remaining question is, of course, whether the Japanese media market will follow the same path as overseas market, where OTT videos become a true competitor to the terrestrial TVs and becoming a king of the ecosystem, or Japan can hold her conventional position where terrestrial TVs remain at the core of media ecosystem. Unfortunately, I do not have an answer yet. However, even if TV continues to be at the center of the ecosystem in the near future, given the rise of online media in the advertising market, it is unlikely that their business model, which is based on the commercial revenue, will remain intact. Therefore, regardless of the answer to the previous question I made, I think it is highly likely that the Japanese TV station will have completely different business model 10 years from now, or 5 years from now. Finally, the only thing I can say for sure is that regardless of the fate of the Japanese media market or the Japanese broadcasters, the content business will continue to expand into the global market. Thank you for your attention. I'm stopped here.